Playing with fire in a new Cold War, Erdogan's Turkey finds itself at the crossroads of history and alliances. As Russia's shadow looms over Ukraine, Turkey, a NATO member, is treading a perilous path, buying Russian weapons and hosting peace talks, yet also standing with Ukraine and conducting naval drills with NATO. How can Turkey navigate this intricate dance? What are the stakes in its audacious diplomacy? And what are the historical and strategic factors that shape its choices? Welcome to Living History. Straddling the crossroads of continents and cultures. To truly grasp Turkey's position on the world stage, let's embark on a brief journey through modern Turkey's history. In the wake of the Ottoman Empire's collapse, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk founded the Turkish Republic in 1923, launching transformative reforms that led Turkey towards modernization and Western alignment. By joining NATO in 1952, Turkey cemented its position as a vital buffer against the Soviet threat, participating in missions across Korea, Bosnia, Kosovo, Afghanistan, and Libya. Yet, Turkey's path hasn't been without bumps. Challenges, including the Cyprus conflict, Kurdish tensions, maritime disputes with Greece, and spats with the West, have strained relations. Since President Erdogan's ascent to power in 2003, Turkey has adopted a more independent foreign policy stance, enhancing regional influence and nurturing closer ties with Russia. To understand this evolution better, meet Recep Tayyip Erdogan, a figure synonymous with modern Turkish politics. A charismatic and polarizing leader, Erdogan's rise to power is nothing short of a political thriller. It all began with Erdogan's tenure as the mayor of Istanbul in 1994, where his practical governance earned admiration. His political journey then catapulted him to become the prime minister in 2003, founding the AKP, Justice and Development Party, which aimed to blend Islamic values with democratic principles. Under his leadership, Turkey witnessed substantial economic growth and infrastructure development. The man had a vision, but it was not without its shadows. Critics accuse Erdogan of eroding democratic institutions, muzzling the press, and suppressing dissent. Erdogan also faced several challenges and crises that tested his leadership and legitimacy, such as the Gezi Park protests in 2013, the corruption scandals in 2013 to 2014, the failed coup attempt in 2016, and the economic downturn which has plagued Turkey since 2018. But what about Turkey's international relationships? Russia, a partner. A rival, a complex relationship that has danced through history, cooperation, and conflict. On the one hand, there's cooperation in energy, trade, and defense. Remember the controversy surrounding Turkey's purchase of the Russian S-400 system in 2019. On the other hand, Turkey has shot down a Russian military jet in 2015, clashed with Russia over Syria and Crimea, and challenged it regarding the invasion of Ukraine and other territories. All this reveals an uneasy tension. So, if you were thinking Turkey is pivoting away from NATO, don't jump to conclusions. Turkey values its NATO membership for security and prestige and recognizes that Russia may not be a compatible partner for long-term interests. The relationship with Russia, more pragmatic than strategic, is subject to fluctuation, and here is why. Turkey, under President Erdogan, strategically maneuvers between East and West. It actively mediates, as seen with the 2022 Russia-Ukraine peace talks, but it's not merely altruistic. By blocking NATO memberships, for instance, Turkey ensures its own interests are prioritized. Its role with both Russia and NATO is not just that of a mediator. It's a clever play for leverage and benefits. Let's not forget, it's also not all about politics. Think of the economy. Think of energy. These are the veins that pump life into nations. Turkey's decision to buy Russian-made S-400 air defense systems made headlines, raising eyebrows in NATO corridors and leading to US sanctions. But wait, what's this? Turkey is also diversifying its energy sources, reducing dependency on Russian gas and boosting its own defense industry. It is this delicate balance of security and economics, of challenge and cooperation, which underscores Turkey's pragmatic approach. Is Turkey's balancing act flawless? No. Is it daring and dynamic? Absolutely. Turkey's relations with both Putin and NATO depict a nation that's unafraid to chart its own course, to innovate, to redefine its destiny in a changing world. But amid this daring dance, one cannot overlook another intricate issue, a tightrope walk in its own right. The Kurdish issue isn't just about ethnic identity. It's a multifaceted predicament encompassing history, political rights, cultural recognition, and human dignity of an estimated 15 to 20 million Kurds in Turkey. The struggles of the Kurds have been marked by a series of violent confrontations, crushed rebellions, and attempts to silence their distinct language and culture. The emergence of the PKK in 1984 further intensified the struggle, turning it into an armed conflict that has taken more than 40,000 lives. Attempts to negotiate and establish peace, such as the initiative launched by Erdogan in 2013, have been met with distrust and failure. Erdogan's shift towards nationalism and authoritarianism since 2015 has only further muddled the waters, with crackdowns on the pro-Kurdish political party HDP, military operations against the PKK, and an overall absence of dialogue. However, the Kurdish issue is not just an internal matter for Turkey, it has significant implications on the international stage as well. Notably within the context of NATO enlargement. NATO enlargement represents a strategic realignment, a shifting of alliances, and a deepening of commitments. It is a complicated process that requires careful negotiation and consensus building among member states. Turkey's role in this context has been vital since it joined NATO in 1952, yet fraught with challenges. A case in point is the blocking of Finland and Sweden's entry into NATO by Turkey, a surprising turn of events that turned the spotlight onto Turkey's own concerns related to the Kurdish issue. Accusations that both Finland and Sweden supported Kurdish groups considered terrorists by Turkey led to an unexpected veto, creating tensions not just with the two countries but also among other NATO members. After months of tense negotiations and a seemingly unbreakable deadlock, a significant breakthrough emerged in 2023. In April, Finland officially joined NATO. However, Sweden's path to NATO membership faced further challenges, primarily due to vetoes from Turkey and Hungary. However, by July 10, 2023, Turkey agreed to support Sweden's NATO bid, marking a pivotal moment in the alliance's expansion efforts. This, though, was another win for Turkey, as the decision was based on an agreement with Sweden, which committed to an action plan addressing Turkey's concerns about combating terrorism. The plan encompassed substantial measures, including increasing intelligence sharing, enhancing border security, preventing terrorist financing, as well as cracking down on terrorist propaganda. This complex scenario also brings Russia into the fold, adding yet another layer to Turkey's intricate foreign policy challenges. In the context of NATO enlargement, Russia's opposition is clear and strong, and Turkey's support for NATO enlargement in Eastern Europe and the Balkans, which Russia considers its sphere of influence, puts the two at odds. Needless to say, Turkey's relationship with Russia is indeed a complex affair. It's an entanglement of cooperation and conflict that traverses centuries, from Ottoman-Russian wars to modern-day energy deals. While Turkey leans on Russia for natural gas imports and has even purchased Russian military hardware, Turkey knows all too well that Russia is not a completely trustworthy partner. So, where does this all lead us? The current shifts in Turkey's foreign policy demonstrate an increasingly flexible approach. Turkey's ability to simultaneously collaborate with Russia and maintain allegiance to NATO indicates a sophisticated diplomatic dance. By maintaining this multifaceted relationship with Russia, Turkey seeks to enhance its regional influence without jeopardizing its core alliances. This is a high-stakes game, and what Erdogan does next could reshape the whole global political scene. This is Living History, signing out.